Hello and welcome to a new indie game video. I'm Player State and today we're taking a look at The Necromancer's Tale, which is a CRPG about the journey of a character into becoming a necromancer. This one's kind of... I don't like to use this comparison because it's probably not very fair on the game, but it's kind of like more like Disco Elysium in the fact that it's very... dialogue based. There is combat, but it kind of plays a smaller role with the story and the storytelling and the dialogue all being a bit more front and center, as it were. Came out back end of July. It was one of the games that I featured on my top 10 indie games to look out for in July, so I'm very looking forward to taking a look at it. I want to say thank you to the developer for giving me a review copy to take a look at. So why don't we get stuck in? Alright, so we've got the classic choose your difficulty. You've got story mode, balanced, and strategy mode. We're just going to go with balanced. Chapter 1, The Prologue.
In the year of our Lord, 1701, the Republic of Venice went to war with the sovereign monarchy of Ralston. This war was over passage rights through the Adriatic Sea, though this point will rarely be brought up when the war is discussed by future historians.
You can skip the interactive prologue if you wish. Okay.
It was, like most wars, overstretched and too costly. Neither side could afford it, nor would they back down. Many lives were lost, and whatever the outcome, each nation would nurse its wounds for some time. The war raged on for 6 years, draining both countries' resources, but the Republic of Venice was older than Ralston and had deeper pockets. In a war of attrition, they would win, and both sides knew it.
Heard of Venice, obviously, but not Republic of Venice. I've not heard of Ralston.
3 generals from Ralston, 2 brothers and
no longer
close
exists.
friends, came together to strategize, and came up with nothing.
Good job, guys.
They would not win this war. In desperation, one reached out to a dark power and was told to make pilgrimage to Golgotha. With no other avenue, they spent 1 month sailing to the walls of Jerusalem, where they docked under cover of darkness. On the hill where the man named Jesus died, they met a figure, too old to identify as man or woman. It offered them a book, an already ancient thing made of pale leathers and filled with symbols that hurt their eyes to look upon. The thing smiled as they took it, a smile made of too many teeth. Full of dread for what they had seen and what they were about to do, they sailed for another month to get home. Things had gone badly in the time they were away. Soon they would have to surrender, and Ralston would fall into decline, one it was unlikely to survive.
Pointless journey then, eh?
Whatever doubt the men had about using the knowledge in that book, their mind was set now. They cast its pages open and chanted dark incantations. And lo, did the dead walk upon the earth that night. Undead sailors hauled themselves into the Venetian boats. Soldiers dragged themselves from battlefields and clawed up from shallow graves to drive the Venetians from the land. The war was won. The Venetians could not fight Ralston's impossible numbers. They surrendered, the book was shut, and the dead were dead once more. The book was destroyed, but the world had noticed. Ralston had dark magic, and no shame in using it. Many enemies, without and within, were born that day. 1711. 3 years later, a child was born to one of the generals involved in unleashing the spell.
This is where... So, I played a bit of the demo, and this is kind of... For those who are old, like myself, They'll remember the Ultima series, where you kind of picked options, and that kind of what's the word? Kind of why am I completely blanking on the word? That's what your character turned out to be. So
A beautiful baby boy.
right, let's put our name in. I'll go with my classic kind of fancy name. It's the one I use all the time. So here we go. We've got our stats up here, which will change as we take these answers. The night you were born, a blood moon hung low in the sky. There was a storm the night you were born, one that came from nowhere. A ship was caught in it, doomed to be dragged to the ocean floor below. A comet passed overhead that night, one that cycled between purple and green. Let's go with a comet.
A comet passed overhead
So we get
that night.
one agility, one
One that
acuity,
cycled
and one
between
impress.
purple and green.
Impress refers to your charm. Acuity refers to logical thinking and the ability to piece together clues to form a conclusion. And agility refers to speed, agility, and dexterity and affects how fast you move in combat as well as how well you can complete physical awkward tasks.
Few saw it, but those that did walked away from their lives to explore more of the world before them.
Like Halley's Comet.
You were taken from your mother and left with a nursemaid for your first few days in this world.
She was a kindly girl from the town's poor quarters. While your paths crossed every few years, she has never reintroduced herself. Seeing you always cheers her up, and she is content with that. A distant cousin who hated being tasked with minding you. She largely ignored you, and when it was done, she told everyone what a fine job she did and how you both had an unbreakable bond. You have not spoken since. A heavy-set lady who helped raise many children in the town. She was lauded for her understanding of children and how their minds behaved, which, though nobody turned up at her funeral when she died of heart failure. Oh, that's not very nice, is it? Let's go for the kindly.
She was a
poor girl.
kindly girl from the town's poor quarters. While your paths crossed every few years,
Yeah, we
you
said that
were
already.
born into wealth and status and had all you could wish for. But your parents never had another child, and your father was often preoccupied with his work. Your mother, distant, sickly and delirious, you heard another mother say. Hoffman, the family steward, raised you more than they. It was a lonely childhood. 1718. You are 8 years old. You play with friends from school, 2 poorer boys, Diedrich and Flip. Your father disapproves. You play in the graveyard outside the city. Nobody goes there without an armed guard. But children do not care for such things. Children are small and fast and can outrun Ghoul, at least when the sun is up. One day, as you play, you hear a rustling coming from some trees. You all freeze. Then a stone whizzes out of the green and hits you on the head. You stare in disbelief, a slow trickle of blood running down your face, partially blocking sight from your left eye.
Leaves part, your cousin Lucas, 10 years your senior, steps out. You scan the tree line and spot Sophia, a girl you recognise from school. A group of other children from the city emerge from the tree line. You recognise the leader, a boy named Willard.
A group of other children from the city emerge from the tree line. You recognise their leader, a boy named Willard. "You shouldn't be here," he calls out. "It's against the rules." He punches the palm of his hand. "This is for your own good."
You pick up a stick and stand your ground. You don't tell me what to do. You scan the area and spot a guard patrolling the wall. They stand tall, but you know what really scares them. Go ahead, my father will be interested to find out what orphans beat me up.
They stand tall, but you know. They all knew who your father was. It was, in truth, probably why they had come to fight with you. But they had not considered the consequences. Not until now. They broke pretty fast. First one, then another. Willard was the last to give up. "You won't have your father around to protect you forever," he said as he retreated. You forget about this comment until the
Military
day,
-10.
many years later, you ride back into town to bury your father. That night you are woken by voices
Is it Willard?
outside your window. You look out. You can see the graveyard, though you know it's normally on the other side of the house and too far away to see. In it, 2 people dig up a grave. Despite the distance and lack of light,
I was digging up your
you
dad's
can make
grave.
out the name on the tombstone. Your father's. One of the people stops. Then, and without moving their body in any way, they turn their head to look at you. You do not recognize them. They grin an unearthly grin at you, so eerie that it wakes you from your sleep. By morning, you have forgotten it all.
So you weren't awake?
Years later, you catch sight of yourself in a mirror, and the memory of this dream comes back to you as you suddenly realize that the face staring at you had been your own. The one you have now as an adult. 1721. One morning, your mother comes to your school. She takes you out, even though classes are not
We're
finished.
backwards again.
She says everything is okay, but you do not believe her.
It is her appearance that gives her away. Her mannerism tips you off. Her presence alone is the warning. Oh, because she's so aloof. So this would be like knowledge, and this one would be like analysis, and this one, I don't know, something else. It's appearance.
It's her appearance that gives her away. She is normally so perfect, but her hair is out of place, her dress loose, her makeup faded. She brings you around the town. First you stop to buy sugared apples, then she takes you shopping. New clothes, new books, new toys, a luggage trunk. She brings you to the castle, and with some whispered words and coins exchanged, the guard lets you into the grounds. You go to the pond and throw bread and watch fish pop their heads up to steal from the ducks. You walk the city walls, and the 2 of you take in the view. The sea to the west, the hills to the south, the forest to the east and north, and beyond the northern tree line, the road that leads to the capital. That, she tells you through teary eyes, is where you're going. You won't understand until you're older. Maybe not even then. You need more than I can give you, more than I can be.
You never looked after me when I was younger.
You protest. She cries. When she stops crying, she doesn't remember where you are, how you got there. A watchman brings you home. There your father glares at you, angry that you upset your mother, angry at your non-compliance. Hoffman brings you to your room to help you put your new clothes and books and toys into your new trunk. He tells you that she loves you, that this is for the best. A few days later, your carriage rides out of town. In your children's stories, events like this happen on rainy days, but today is sunny and clear-skied. As the carriage crests a hill, you can look back towards the city and see it all. The farms, the walls, the groves, the castle, the seas. Your home. How do you feel as you are taken away?
I am angry, feeling unwanted and tossed aside. This is something I could not fight. I hurt, a deep wound of betrayal. My parents are supposed to look after me, not discard me. I don't understand what I did wrong for them to send me away like this. I wonder, will I ever understand? Who?
I hurt.
Ooh.
A deep wound of betrayal.
Very much in the blue over here.
My parents are 1722. A year has passed. More quickly than you might have expected. Winter's first snow falls lightly outside. You watch from your dorm and reflect on your time here.
This year was hard on you. You started many fights, you ended many too. You are thankful for the library here. Books have been your there's a lot of choices. Books have been your salvation. You took to this new life quickly, making many friends. You directed your energy towards physical activities and joined the running team. You killed the time by dreaming up schemes and enacting them. You've befriended some of the more unsavoury children. I'm going to go with schemes.
You killed the time by dreaming up schemes.
I'm really
You
really going down
convince
blue.
other students, even some faculty members, to part with their coin and other goods. 1725. Your schooling is done now. Your time here is over. You spent much of this year deciding what to do next.
In the end, you decide to continue with education. Ultimately, you decide to follow in your father's footsteps and join the military. One of your professors said she saw something in you, a spark that would see you well in the world of courtly intrigue.
One of your professors said she saw something in you, a spark that would see you
I'm
well
a diplomat,
in the
then.
world of courtly intrigue. This sounds exciting to you, and well paid too, so they put you in touch with a contact of theirs to begin your training. With your path decided, you found you had time before your training began, so you made the trip home to visit your parents and tell them of your plans. Your travel home feels faster than it was leaving. Perhaps mindset, perhaps age, perhaps because you have done it once already and can spy milestones. Whatever the reason, you arrive home to your mother and Hoffman awaiting you. Your father is not there, but joins you for dinner that evening. It had been 4 years since you were home. Not a long time for some, but a quarter of your life. You had this idea that you had matured, changed so much in that time, but...
Your attempts to gain access to the library's restricted area are rejected. A master there refuses you. These books are not for children. You try to wow your old friends with tales of your time away, and it pains you when they don't seem impressed. You still find your father to be as inscrutable as ever.
You still find your father to be as... You try to engage the man. Talk about his interests, your time away, and your chosen path. But you cannot tell if he is impressed, interested, or even paying attention. Despite this, it is good to be home again, to see your friends and family. You have a good summer. As you leave for your new training, you wonder how long until you come home next, and how you will have changed by then. 1727. You are nearly 2 years into your training now, and it goes largely as expected. You miss home, but the pangs grow less as time passes. Your mentor, an older lady named Valentina Zupan, takes you to the Scottish courts to watch the burning of a witch. The woman is accused of fornication with the devil, but Valentina says that the only crime this woman, and women burned like her, committed was striving for knowledge, studying the natural world and trying to understand it. Valentina wants you to see how other countries treat people who they cannot understand, how they treat knowledge they cannot fathom. She tells you then that a war has broken out at home. A lich, a powerful undead sorcerer, has begun raising the dead and marches on the capital. So far its armies show no sign of moving out of Ralston, but Venetian and Habsburg forces are amassing on their respective borders to repel anything that tries to cross them. Other nations will turn this on us. They will try to turn the Pope on us too, no doubt. They'd see us burned like that witch. This is our job, to slow the tide that comes for us. We shall travel to other courts, seeking help. We will get none. In reality, we're there to find the lips that whisper against us and do what we must to shut them, by deals or blackmail, whatever it takes. You were on a carriage to London that night, on the start of a tour of Europe that would carry on for the next year. Eventually, word reaches you that the Lich has been defeated, that its forces collapsed as the final blow was struck. Your father was at that battle, as was your uncle. You learn your uncle was wounded, but is well. Neither man died, though the same cannot be said for thousands of others in the country. The soldier's work is done now. Our work only gets harder. Venice will want to march in retaliation for 1708. Habsburg will want the land. Several others will want us stomped out for being too liberal. We must keep these wolves at bay while our country rebuilds. 1729. Your training complete. You land your first post.
Your first assignment was in the Ottoman court of Ahmed III in Albania. You were thrown to the wolves and sent to the courts of Venice. You found yourself stationed in the rapidly crumbling empire of Charles VI, Holy Roman Emperor. I want to go to Albania.
Your first assignment was in the Ottoman courts of Ahmed III in Albania. The sun shone upon you and the wind was at your back as you were sailed down the Adriatic Sea to the port of Duris. There, a member in the court of Governor Kuprulu Abdullah Pasha greeted you. Her name was Kuprulu Yenikumru, and you learned she was a cousin of the governor. You were told the governor had been unfortunately dragged away on business as you neared, though you expected he didn't deem you important enough to meet. Staged and stilted pleasantries were exchanged before you and your entourage were led through the streets to a grand house that looked to be a series of cubes stacked together. It was very different to anything you had seen prior. Inside, in a grand room that almost defied logic as to how it fitted in the building, her entourage sat, gathered across from yours, of which you sat at the front, and by some distance. You could feel all eyes on you as a tray was laid out before you with 2 cups, one of water and the other of coffee. She looked at you expectantly. You had not been told anything about this custom.
You choose to drink the coffee. You choose to drink the water. Coffee.
You choose to drink the coffee. On seeing you drink it, she nodded, and her staff scrambled into action. Soon, male dancers called krpg staged impressive vaults, while performers known as kambas juggled and executed visual tricks that, to this day, you haven't been able to see through. Music played, at first fast and frantic for the male performers, and then it flawlessly changed into fast but controlled tune for the female dancers, the chengi, who came and gyrated for your entertainment. Their shimmering outfits flicked and fluttered to the tempo like birds mating. No food was served, but none among your group went to bed alone that night. 1731. You are through the early years of your career now. You have earned some recognition and accolades. Some time from work and a purse are made available to you. As you take some time to enjoy this leave, a terrible thing happens to you.
Your arm is broken while climbing the Alps. A hunting trip results in a terrible stomach wound. A night on the town ends with your leg being severely damaged. Let's go with Alps.
Your arm is broken.
I've got no strength.
You had been talking with your friend, Astrid, and you both agreed that you needed to blow off some steam. You decided on a vigorous mountain climb, and so you planned a weekend hike up a nearby mountain with an overnight stay at the summit. It was late summer, so you knew you wouldn't need to pack too much. A tent, some food, and, of course, hiking equipment. The day before the hike, you travelled to a rented chalet at the mountain's base. You spent that evening going over maps, making plans, and divvying the gear before getting an early night's sleep.
Divvying up the gear.
The next day, you rose early and began. The early part of the hike was quite pleasant as you wandered through the lush green forest that covered the mountain's base. By midday, you were exiting the forest. From here on, it was sparse and stony trails. Unsure you'd find enough wood at the top for a fire, you gathered some here. The extra wood was bulky and unbalanced you both, but you agreed to carry it for now and abandon it if it became problematic. Soon the incline became steep enough that you needed to start climbing. You worked in tandem to advance, taking short breaks as they presented themselves. At one point, a rope snapped, and Astrid hurt her shoulder as she crashed into the cliff face. In your scramble to secure her, you lost much of the wood you had gathered earlier. You both took a moment to calm your nerves before carrying on. When you finally hoisted yourself up over the edge of the cliff, you found yourself facing a cave. You shouted in to see if your voice echoed. It did, but not by much. You turned to help Astrid up. With the sun setting, you decided to leave your ropes in place so you could make it to the summit before night came, and you set off on the final stretch. You reached the summit as the sun disappeared over the horizon. Astrid set the camp, and you took what little wood survived the journey and built a fire. By the time she had the tent up, your food was heated. The two of you sat, tired but proud of your accomplishment. You talked a while, discussing routes back down and how to improve techniques. A wind picked up, and soon your fire died. You climbed into your tent, but you didn't stay there for long. The wind kept growing, and you both knew that if you had stayed there, your tent would blow away. You took it down as a strong gale whipped up around you. You carried it, wrapped under your arms, down the mountainside to the cave you had passed earlier. You entered, laughing as the wind howled outside. It took a moment for your eyes to adjust to the darkness. "What was that?" asked Astrid. You'd heard nothing, just the wind, you replied. Then, in the dark, something moved. A grey mass against the black cave wall. Something uncoiled and stood. It snarled and charged at you both. You pushed Astrid out of the way and barely avoided the first swing. A large hand, the size of your head, slammed into the ground with a massive thud. You rammed your elbow under the creature's ribs and it yelled. It spun around, faster than you could react, and backhanded you across the cave. Your face stung and your head throbbed, but you had no time. You picked yourself up as you heard it nearing. You jumped on it and buried your thumbs into where you hoped it had eyes. It shrieked and grabbed you by the arm. It tightened its grip on you, and you felt something crunch under your skin. You yelled. It hurled you towards the cavern's mouth. Astrid, who had managed to get out while you fought the thing, was able to seize you by the legs and dragged you. The thing followed you to the cave mouth and bellowed after you. You got a good look at it then. A nigh 10-foot grey-blue body, rippled with muscles and bristling with white hair. A hammerling, one of the mountain giants. It didn't follow you out onto the mountainside. You and Astrid, tentless now, found a crevasse to hide in.
Why are they both dressed like they're
pained
not
and
going
cold
mountaineering? Look,
until
she's in a
morning.
dress with no
Thankfully,
cover on
the
her
climb
arms.
down was easier, despite your broken arm, in part because you left your ropes anchored. It took a few months for your arm to mend. You still haven't regained its full strength since that night. On cold days, it seizes up still. 1733. When you learned of your father's death, you were...
At work, resting in your home, on a date. I was on a
date.
Oh, Impress is full now.
The main course had just been served when a courier came to you and delivered the letter.
Can charm everybody.
It had your family seal on it. You knew it was important. You excused yourself for a moment. You never returned to dinner. You did not go on a second date.
A bit rude.
Something changed in you then, and not for the better.
I lost myself in a rage. I was overcome with sorrow. I went numb.
I went numb. It seemed matter of fact to me. Of course he would die now, as my life gets going. It was very like him. I found myself thinking he had perhaps died now on purpose. A foolish thought. And yet... Now, days later, your carriage crests the hills towards Marnes, the sun blasting off the red and yellow bricks and rippling off the blue sea beyond. You are almost home.
Home to see my mother, to support her in this terrible time. Home to bury a man I never really knew and never would. Home to reclaim my life here now that the man who sent me away is dead.
Home to see my mother.
Oh, for goodness sake!
To support
what a waste.
her in this terrible time.
Oh, I can change it here now. I feel like I need some strength, surely. So I'm going to take one off impress. Oh yeah, so I had one. Yeah, and I'm going to put it into strength. And I might leave it like that. It's very unbalanced, but it feels kind of cool that I've created this character through that little story. And while it was a long story, and you can skip it, it's just down here and go to quick set. It's quite cool. It gives you a lot of background details for the character and like makes the character feel more real, I guess. Maybe I should go one more impress down, and I'll go one in analysis up. I think that's probably good. What's knowledge? Yeah, okay, let's go with that. I'm just gonna have to like charm everybody. Okay, so this is another thing about the demo that I found out. There is a setting in here. Where are we? No, where is it? No, it is here, isn't it? Painterly effect. So you can go have it so there's no effect like that, or you can have it high. Oh, that's not applied. Go back again. Apply. So it's like that. Or you can just have it normal, which I quite like, so I'm gonna leave it like this. 1 hour from the north gates of Marnes, my coach had been climbing a steep hill surrounding on all sides by oaks, before the great forest gave way to farmland. And there we saw a young woman accosted by 2 brigands. My coachman called to me.
Should we stop, sir?
This is clearly a trap, but let's stop anyway. Yes, at once. Our coach pulled to a stop. Is everything okay here, my good lady? Hey there, good man. What has your young woman done to draw your attention? You men, what are you doing? Has Marnes fallen so far since I have been away that 2 of you should accost a lady so near to the city gates? The ruffians turned their spears towards me.
Be on your way, stranger.
I attempted to bargain with them. Skill check analysis level 2. You're making a skill check. It's a level 2 analysis check. This means that you need 2 levels of analysis to pass it. If your skill is less than 2, then you can spend points from your skill pool to make up the balance. Your skill pool refills at the start of each chapter. Spend 0 skill points to ask them to reconsider. Please consider your actions. This is just a peaceful young woman. The 2 men turned their spears towards me, and my coachman leapt down with his sword drawn. Alright, well, they weren't going to listen. Combat. To the left of the screen are the portraits of your main characters and your allies. Characters take turn in sequence. To the right of the screen are your enemies' portraits. Click on the portrait to zoom the camera to the character. Yeah, I've done that. Each portrait has a health bar and a circle number showing action points. That's that one, 5 action points. Action points are used to move, attack, reload, equip weapons and cast spells. In addition, your own character has a number inside a star shape. This shows their magic points. I don't have any yet then. For casting spells. Click on the terrain to move your character towards that spot, which... Oh, right, I see. The hexagon tiles light up to show the route you will be taken. It costs 1 action point per tile moved. Click on an enemy character to attack them with your active character. You must be close enough to them to strike and have enough action points left. Melee weapons have a range of 1 or 2 hexes, while missile weapons can fire a lot further. However, they can be slow to reload. The end turn button finishes the current active character's turn. Mortal characters can carry up to 3 unused action points to the next combat round. You can open your inventory and double click a weapon to equip it. Have I got any weapons? I have. And that, I'll put that on as well. Oh, all red now. For more detailed control, open both your character sheet and inventory and drag items between the slots in them. Hover over a weapon icon in your character sheet or inventory to see its stats. This includes how many action points it takes to use, and its effectiveness against unarmoured, levered armoured, and metal armoured foes. If you have undead minions in your control and some magic ability, then you can activate and move a minion by casting the Activate Minion spell. Control passes back to your main character when you click End Turn for the minion. After firing a missile weapon, you will need to reload it. Reloading costs action points. Yeah, blah blah blah. Muskets, high reload. You cannot move, attack, or cast battle magic while reloading. Ending your turn while reloading will use the remaining action points on that. During combat, your camera can move freely using the arrow keys or right stick. Can I use the WASD keys? I cannot. Oh, that's quite slow. It's like a delay in moving it. Weird. Alright, yep. Okay, don't need to look at that. Let's go then. I will attack. Can I attack again? No, I don't have enough. You cannot attack. Requires 2 AP. End turn. Missed. Combat speed. Let's go a bit faster. Why is he not... Oh, I meant to control him. I thought he was going to... No, I want to control... Why is he not moving? Have I got to click on him? He's not... You jumped down. He's not actually doing anything. Now it's his turn. The men turned and fled. The fight was not going their way. We let them go.
Thank you for helping me. I know you. You are the son of Zelig.
She shrugged, smiled sweetly, and straightened the garland in her hair. I nodded. She seemed about my age, but I did not recall her face from the past. Who are you?
Just a girl from the village yonder.
She looked slyly at me and waved her arm vaguely to the north, back down the hill, the way we had come.
I was collecting herbs when they waylaid me.
My coachman eyed her suspiciously, but said nothing. Perhaps she would care to visit me at my mansion when I have settled in. Then perhaps I might learn your name, sweet maiden. You seem like the feisty sort of lass who I could befriend. She looked amused for a moment, then gave her cryptic answer.
I think our paths shall cross, right enough. Perhaps as allies. Though as friends, we shall see.
Who are those men? Surely Mars has not become so lawless.
The protection of the city is not there for all of us. And outside its walls, there are many men such as these.
This much of her words are true. In recent times, I never travel beyond the city without a weapon.
Were you not afraid your life seemed in danger?
It was not. Those men are fools.
Coachman scowled at her. I've done that one. Be safe then. I must be away for my father's funeral awaits.
I am sorry. It is a sad day, and Lord Zelig was a good man.
I climbed back into my coach and glanced out to wave farewell, but in the place of the young woman stood an old hag watching me. The shadows seemed to draw in around her, leaving her face indistinct.
Be wary. We select dead the wolves are circling. The house of Van Eerstek may have an important part in the future of the kingdom. Do not presume to know who your friends and enemies are.
Alright, thanks for that cryptic clue. Right,
Whoa there.
we have arrived. The carriage came to a sudden stop which jolted me awake. I had thought that on my return home after so many years that I would watch it all, rising up over the hill to see Marnes, entering the gates, the ride to my family home. But I had been travelling for 3 days now, and I had clearly been too tired to stay awake, despite my strange encounter in the northern forest. Still, I was home. Perhaps it was unkind of me, but when I stepped out, I was surprised to be greeted by Hoffman. I expected him to be long retired by now. Despite his age, he stood tall as he greeted me.
Welcome home, my lord. I trust your journey was a pleasant one.
As best as one could expect, I returned home to bury my father, and no, it was not a pleasant journey. I was tiring. Get my bags, Albrecht. As best as one could expect, given the circumstances. The old man said nothing, and there was no expression on his face. He just nodded slightly, as indecipherable as I recalled. Nothing about this exchange gave away how close he had been to my father, raising him after grandfather's death, tutoring him, following him to war, even minding my mother in recent years. If he was hurting from the death, and I knew he was, he hid it well. I must have been staring for too long because he cut the
If
silence.
sir wishes to go inside, I shall follow along with the luggage.
I nodded and left him be. Alright, let's go inside to the house. Graphic settings let you turn off the painterly effects, but why would you want to do that? It was just as I remembered. Less cavernous, perhaps, but still an impressive room with a grand staircase leading up to bedrooms and private offices. There was no sign of any of our servants, however, and there, beside the fire, my mother slumbered. Alright, let's go and look at this partial suit of armour, shall we? Where was the rest of this armour? I needed to ask Albrecht. Why were these paintings off the wall? Albrecht would know. Oh, cases have appeared. My possessions, such as they were. Some change of clothes, some books. Nothing of real value. Alright, what's going on? When I next saw Albrecht, he was standing in the lobby beside my bags.
Can I help you, my lord?
I have not seen the rest of the house staff since arriving home, Albrecht. Yes. They have been temporarily let go, I'm afraid. In brief, your father's passing has left the family's finances under pressure. A conversation for once you are settled in, I think, Master Isendor. You didn't mention how my father died. A sharp look from him then. He must not have wanted the question, but surely he expected it. Forgive me, my lord, but I must confess I'm embarrassed to tell you. He was found dead in a bush, the smell of alcohol strong off him. The herbalist, Halen, performed the autopsy and said it was a failure of the heart brought on by an overindulgence in liquor. The herbalist? Did this city have no doctors? I should find and question this man soon. Meanwhile, I needed to search the house for more evidence on my father's drinking habit. Okay, so he's quickly into like, yeah, it wasn't, this is suspect. Why the herbalist? Why not a surgeon? I'm afraid I do not know why. He is a learned man, I suppose. Drunk in a bush? Yes, some broken bottles were found scattered around him. With the funeral, I've not had time to tidy the area should you wish to look. It's around the back of the house. Who found him? The groundskeeper found him as he began his morning chores. Anticipating my next question, Albrecht cut me off. Nikos is not here. He no longer works for the family. Why not? Perhaps a discussion best left for now, but in brief with your... okay, yeah, we've already talked about that. I could talk of my father's death no longer. Tell me more about this financial issues. Master, I cannot say much about it, as I'm still not clear on it all myself. Your father, it seems, had managed to run down his finances. While alive, he was keeping things going through just enough to mask it from me. When things settled more, and with your permission, I will begin to go through the finances in his office to make sense of this situation. I absently nodded in agreement as I considered what my father had done. Perhaps I should look through those documents in my father's office as well. What news of the funeral plans? He paused a moment. It has already happened, my lord. He was cremated and entombed yesterday. We did not receive word of your arrival, so your uncle hastened the event as your mother's health has been understandably poor since his passing. I had hoped to allow you more time to rest after your trip before telling you. I was shocked at this, and I am sure that Albrecht noticed. An uncharacteristic softness came over him then. It was a suitable affair, I assure you. Why was the funeral so soon after his death? Surely they could have waited another day for me to arrive. There was no word that you would arrive, and your uncle was worried that the shroud would try to take the body. The shroud? I had thought that all worshippers of the Lich would have been taken care of by now, but clearly that was not the case. Given your father's part in the war, his corpse would have made for a valuable trophy. I'm surprised that the members haven't been chased down by now. Your uncle has tried, but they are hard to find. They do not advertise themselves, you understand. Then what makes him so sure there are any left? There were many mortals who fought on the Lich's side in the war. Not all were found. Your uncle believes that those who survived are out there, waiting. Do they have the ability to raise the dead? I thought that was lost with the Lich. It is hoped, sir. The presumption is that they are waiting, hoping for a new dark Death Lord to rise. Taking the body would be a gesture of resistance. Why would anyone living pledge themselves to an undead sorcerer? It is hard to say. For some, this life isn't enough, I suppose. They want for more time, or maybe they just want to see others suffer. But I speculate. Nothing else to say about the shroud. Don't know. Why is there half a suit of armor on display? We are in the midst of selling some pieces. Why would you sell half a piece of armor? In brief, your yeah, okay. While these paintings taken off the wall, it's probably going to say the same thing. Selling some pieces, blah blah. Tell me more of the funeral. His weight shifted. It was, as you would expect, a grand event with a soldier's guard. Your uncle spoke, then the cremation. Once the ashes were gathered, they were marched through town. The crypts were cleared and his remains were placed in the family vault. If the ghoul chased out any indication, his ghost would have a suitable fight should God see fit to charge him so. A hint of pride showed across his face then. The most honourable burial possible. Your uncle has commissioned a statue for the town's centre. Nasatia Massin has been hired for the task, and at no small cost. The name meant nothing to me, but Albrecht seemed to feel her work was befitting my father's memory. I think that's all. I decided to bid my farewell and go on with my day. I travelled all this way and they'd already had the funeral. Go look at these condolence cards, and then maybe speak to my mother. A set of condolence cards were displayed on the table. I opened the card from my uncle Baron Javis. Juliana, I still cannot believe he is gone. With the pomp over, I will be taking some time to mourn him. If you need anything while I am gone, ask Lucas. I am sorry that I need to retreat away when you need me most. I failed him, and now I fail you. Sorry, Javis. I read the card from Guard Captain Willard Werner. They're it's very similar. They only got one card maker in this town. Madame Van Elstrick, your husband was and will continue to be a great inspiration to me and my soldiers. We will endeavour to keep Mainz and all of Russlin as safe as he did. Know that it takes a legion to replace him. Guard Captain Willard Werner. I checked the offering from a man named Lord Richard Carnell. Everyone's got a cross on the front. Van Elstrix, I am saddened by your loss, Lord Richard Carnwell. Well, thanks for that, mate. Very brisk. I read the card from my cousin, Lucas Van Elstrick. Dearest aunts, I am inconsolable at the loss of Uncle Zelig. If you need anything at this time, please, anything I can do, just ask, Lucas. I spotted a card from the Queen of Russlin, Olka III. To House Van Elstrick, I am deeply saddened by the loss of one of Ralston's finest sons. His efforts in service to this country have, these past 30 years plus, have kept this great nation safe and prosperous through admittedly difficult times. It's truly hard to say that we would stand so tall were it not for his sacrifices. Know that I shall hold a vigil for him on the day of his funeral, and that the royal household shall be fasting in his honour and memory. There was one from my friend Diedrich and his grandmother Sybil. Oh, no cross. Madame Van Elstricht, we don't have the words to convey our sympathies. If there is anything you need, you have but to ask. Diedrich and Sybil Van Vassentum. A second card from Diedrich was addressed to me alone. Isendor, I am so sorry. I admired your father. Always wish he'd been my dad. Let's drink to his memory when you get back, yeah? Diedrich. That's like a text put into a card. One of the cards was enigmatically signed S. Death comes for us all in the end, but how do we greet him? Cowering, angry, bartering like a statesman perhaps? Or with open arms like a friend? Cryptic. There was one from the local priest, Father Oliver. Dear Van Elstrix, I am wounded by the news of the loss. Such a loss to you, us in the city and the entire nation. I'll set in motion plans for such a grand funeral to ferry him off to our Lord God and his heavenly angels. A saint of a man. My heart weeps for you, Father Olivier. Pushed to the back was a card from my friend Sophia. Isendor, sorry to hear about your father. Still, maybe you could come home now, eh? Sophia. I stepped away from the table. My mother looked to be waking from a rest. As I approached, she raised her hand to block the light as she looked at me. She didn't seem pleased to see me and shooed me off with a wave of her hand.
Away, ghost. I'm too tired to be haunted this day.
Mother, it's me. Recognition washed over her face then.
Oh, my My baby has returned. Your father will be so glad to see you.
Then she trailed off.
Your father. Your father. Oh.
I decided it was best to leave her to rest. Wise decision, I feel. Alright, what's in here in the lobby? Oh, now she's gone up. I assume his study is upstairs, so let's go upstairs. Oh, we got... Oh, you can't... there is no rotating. Oh, there is rotating. It's with this. What's over here? My parents' bedroom. Even now, it felt like a violation to be here. Well, let's have a snoop around anyway. My mother's journal was a mess of disjointed sentences and lists, as if she was trying to remind herself of even the most basic of tasks. Oh, looks like that's all there is here. Okay, here's the office. My father's study, where he spent most of his time. A globe of the world. It even had the Americas on it. It was peppered with tiny red and black flags. I couldn't help but be curious as to what they meant, but there was no sign of a key anywhere. A portrait of Aldous Schmidt. I had a vague memory of the man from my youth. A general alongside my father and uncle, a close friend of theirs. It marked his death as 1726 during the Lich War. Amidst all the books on these shelves, an old volume entitled Seances for the Living caught my eye. I could find it here again later if it seemed useful. It looked like there was something up there. I could probably reach it with a stretch. Agility level 1. Spend 0 points to climb onto the shelf to reach it. 0 points to leave it where it is. Inside was an unaddressed letter my father had clearly intended to send, but now never would. Omar, you owe me a debt and I intend to collect it a week hence. I warn you neither to disappoint nor shortchange me. The result of either would be most unpleasant for you. After reading it, I put it in my bag. Oh, this set of armour isn't sold yet. My father's armour. It had been gathering dust here since the Lich War. It was an impressive collection of books with a wide range of titles. Diplomat. Oh, right, I'm a diplomat. Most of it was lost on me, but I noticed Machiavelli's The Prince in the midst of all of it. Hints, you can double-click to run, or you use WASD with Shift. My father's desk, a pile of maps and writings scattered across it. It seemed he was as messy in later life as I recalled from my childhood. I examined the papers. It was a scattering of personal and academic papers. My father was not, to my memory, a particularly learned man, so I was surprised to see writings from Zosismos, D, and Pericles. Paracelsus? I could make out no discernible pattern in what my father had been researching. I looked at the maps. Up-to-date charts of the known world and sketchings of the local area with various nearby tombs marked out. Anything else? I searched for details on matters financial. After Ulbricht mentioned the family affairs, I ignored the other texts and focused on a ledger showing my father's expenses. Things were bleaker than I expected, and I could understand why Ulbricht decided to cut back on the staff. With my father alive, he could have held things together certainly, but what were a butler and my mother to do with that loss of income? Where had all this money gone? The ledger showed it bleeding out, but to where? Perhaps in those books. He had been looking for a way to turn lead to gold? There were also some letters on the desk. Of note, the one demand payment or else stood out. I was shocked to see my father was in debt to some shady sort, but given his finances, I understood at least. Left it there. What's this? Drawer. Let's go in the drawer. The drawer was locked. I needed to find the key. Alright. Oh, so I can walk like this. You say double click just to run. Open the door. Double click? No. I said double click to run. Or is it just shift to run? No, shift doesn't. Shift and that runs. No, nothing in the toilet. Anything in the anything in here? Nothing in here. What about the playroom? Doesn't look like there's anything in here either. I can go to sleep, but I don't really want to go to sleep. My old room. It was strange being back. I felt the same every time I returned home, though it hadn't really been my home since I was sent away 14 years prior. Just a place I came to see my family. Now, just a place to visit my mother. Let's take all these. Wait, why has he stopped walking? I've got to click on the door, so I've got to rotate. If Father wasn't in his office, he'd often be here. I used to wait for him to leave so I could look at whatever he had just been reading. The Great Creatures of Canaan. Okay, I'm not reading all that. Okay, so they're actually books you can read. Interesting. Where my cousin Lucas stayed when he was with us, I wondered when his room last saw use. Doesn't look like there's anything in here. You can use the right mouse button or the control key to see additional interaction items in the world. Oh, hello. I hold the control key a bit easy for that. Got these downstairs. Oh, there's something in there that I missed. The chest. Unimportant looking papers. How do I look at something? I can't look at something. Alright. Obviously not important then, as it said. Gonna have a look at this bed over here. It's painting, sorry. 2 portraits of my mother. I recall the more recent one being painted when I was last home. The one of her as a younger woman must have been commissioned right around the time I was born, and it always hung here. Even in the older painting, I could now see a hint of something in her face. Despair, perhaps, which I'd never noticed before. Diary of a Barkeep. Okay, so it's just another book. I feel like I've done all this, haven't I? Yeah, but why is it saying I can look again? Alright, well, there's nothing in here to do. So let's search somewhere else for this key. Or I could go outside and investigate where my father was found. Oh, he's going a bit funny. So you can click and then hold down shift to run. Interesting.
Can I help you, my lord?
Do you know where I might find a key to my father's small desk? I want to check it and see if there is anything that needs dealing with. I'm afraid not. Your father kept his personal affairs, well, personal. I would imagine the key is somewhere in his private chambers, however. I saw my mother. She doesn't seem worse than normal. The old man inhaled deeply inside. Yes, she's been declining rapidly since your father passed. Not sleeping, confusion, losing sense of where she is. I'm hoping your return will anchor her some. I'm sure that in a few days, when the pain lessens, she will sleep better, properly, normally. Until then, she wanders a little lost, and I help her get sleep when she can. Yes, I'm sure she'll be fine in time, Master Isendor. I'm sure of it. Has a doctor seen her? No, but there is nothing a doctor could do for her bar locking her away in a madhouse. I won't allow that. Sorry, Master Isendor. That's it then. So he reckons the key would be upstairs. Let's go quick look out. Oh, what's this? The wine. You can view your active tasks by clicking the journal icon in your taskbar. The icon flashes when there is unread content. The crate of my father's most precious wine. Why was this sitting in the entrance hall? Yeah, I've done that. I should find Helen, the herbalist. My father apparently died from drinking too much whiskey. I should check the bush around the back. I should find Nikos. Discuss my father's death. I must find the key to the desk.
can I help you, my lord?
That's not there as an option. So, all right, let's go go check this. Go out. Oh, it's a bit awkward. Back of the house, he said, right? I do not have a vessel in my hand to fill with water. Our boat hadn't been tended to in an age. I wonder if it's still seaworthy. A black and white cat sat here, watching me suspiciously. I reached out a hand. The beast hissed and ran off around the house. Alright, oh, here it is. A mess of whiskey bottles lay scattered on the ground beneath a battered bush. So this was where my father was found. Skill check, knowledge level 3. Spend 2 skill points to recall something of your father. Your current skill pool, 5. Let's do that. I don't recall my father being a whiskey drinker. Then I spotted a small key, half buried in the dirt. It must have fallen from my father's pockets when he was here. I put it in my bag. Ah, we found the key. Alright, let's go look in the garden chest. Oh, there's tons of stuff. Take it all. Take it all. Alright, let's go check this drawer and then I think we'll call the video there. It's been quite a while. A lot of that was taken up by the intro. I'm not sure which is easier. I think it might be slightly easier to use the keys to control myself than to click. Alright. The drawer, I needed to find the key. Use the drawer. Put key here. Okay, I got to go to the inventory and put key there. A bottle of port. Even his private stash didn't have whiskey. Surely he would have had some whiskey in the house if he was so fond of it. But everything was wine. Something didn't add up. I hadn't been home for a long time before this. What I had learned on my return made me wonder if things had changed a lot in that time, or if I'd been too young to form a realistic picture of my father. My mother was ill, very ill. I remember her being absent as a child, not distant. She'd been a loving mother, just one who was different. Only now I could see she had been dealing with something significant. Father had been in a precarious place leading up to his death, which itself raised suspicions in me. I resolved to stay in Mars for a time to assist my mother. Not wishing to be a further drain on the family, I would go into the city and look for work. All the while, I would seek answers about my father's death. Something was not adding up, and I wanted to know what. It was time to go into the city. Let's take all these. Alright, let's do a save. I haven't saved at all once yet. Save game. Save new. No, overwrite. Oh, flipping heck. Saving it is saving? It's a bit of a overwrite. Okay, that's what you do. Okay, that's the Necromancer's Tale. Bit of a long video today. I'll probably put a chapter in so that you can skip. This isn't much good telling people right now, is it? I'll probably put a chapter in to skip the long intro if people just want to get to the gameplay. But yeah, as I said at the start, it's very text heavy and obviously story driven. I've quite enjoyed that. It does a good job, as I said in the intro after we've done the intro, it does a good job of building up a sense of place and what your character is about and who they are. And then as you get to your home and find out a bit more about your father and mother, it builds a bit about who they are, and it nicely sets up kind of what your next steps are to find out how your father died, what's going on, and clearly it will expand out from there. So yeah, as I say, it's out now. I'll put the link in the description below where you can get a copy on Steam. It's £21, which is probably about $25, something like that. It's an affiliate link, so buying it through there supports the channel, so that'd be a great help if you did it there. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. Really helps me out. Really appreciate anyone who takes time out to do that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.